Hello everyone, I'm Paula. Welcome back to my channel, Know Your English Grammar, where I give you insightful English grammar lessons. Today's lesson will be all about sentence fragments. I will tell you about the 3 ways in which we create sentence fragments and how we can fix them. At the end of this lesson, I will give you a short quiz and we will go through the answers together. Let's get started. Laura. Is this a sentence? No, it is not. It names a subject, Laura, but it does not tell what the subject, Laura, does. It is not a sentence because it does not have a predicate and does not express a complete thought. Tall, beautiful Laura. Is this a sentence? Again, it is not. Our subject, Laura, is described to us, but we are still not told what Laura does. We still do not have a predicate and no complete thought is expressed. Our 2 groups of words, Laura and tall, beautiful Laura, are not complete sentences. They are called sentence fragments. What is a sentence fragment? Well, to understand what a sentence fragment is, let's look firstly at what a sentence is. A sentence is a group of words that must contain a subject, a predicate, and it must express a complete thought. May I invite you to watch this video that tells about the sentence. So, a sentence fragment is a group of words that is missing any one of those 3 components that make up a sentence. That is the subject, the predicate, or the ability to express a complete thought. In this lesson, we will learn about 3 types of sentence fragments. 1. Those that require just a subject or a predicate. 2. Those that apparently have both subject and predicate but do not express a complete thought. And 3. Those that require an independent clause to complete the thought. Fragments that require a subject and or a predicate. Let's look at this expression. Laura Brown, secretary of the committee, was invited to the meeting. We will separate them into 2 groups of words. Group 1, Laura Brown, secretary of the committee, and Group 2, was invited to the meeting. Is either of these groups of words a complete sentence? No, neither is. Group 1 contains a subject, Laura Brown, but it has no predicate. It tells us who Laura Brown is, but it does not tell what Laura Brown does. Group 2 contains a predicate, was invited, but it does not have a subject. It does not tell us who was invited to the meeting. Alone, each group of words is merely a fragment of a sentence. To correct sentence fragments like those above, we could simply join both groups of words. Laura Brown, secretary of the committee, was invited to the meeting. We now have a complete sentence. It has a subject, Laura Brown, a predicate, was invited, and it expresses a complete thought. Here is another example. The course that the university is offering is the best you can get anywhere. Again, these 2 groups of words on their own do not make any sense. The first group of words, the course that the university is offering, has a subject, course, but it has no predicate. We may ask, what about the course that the university is offering? And we won't have an answer. The second group of words is the best you can get anywhere. This is also a fragment of a sentence. It has a predicate, but it has no subject. We may ask the question, What is the best you can get anywhere? We may join these two groups of words to make a complete sentence. The course that the university is offering is the best you can get anywhere. Our sentence now has a subject, a predicate, and it expresses a complete thought. So our two previous examples were easy to correct because the groups of words could easily be joined to form complete sentences. Together, they formed sentences that included a subject and a predicate and expressed a complete thought. Sometimes, fragments that are lacking a subject and or a predicate cannot be so easily corrected. Simply joining them still would not express a complete thought. For example, Mr. Johnson's English course, the latest edition, just in stores. Let's examine each group. Mr. Johnson's English course, the latest edition. This has a subject, Mr. Johnson's English course, but it has no predicate. The second group of words, just in stores, has neither subject nor predicate. Simply joining these fragments will not work because there will still be no predicate. To fix this situation, we need to provide a predicate. There are several ways that we could correct these fragments. A. Mr. Johnson's English course, the latest edition, is just in stores. By adding the linking verb is, we have connected the subject, Mr. Johnson's English course, the latest edition, to just in stores to complete the thought. B. Mr. Johnson's English course, the latest edition, has just been placed in stores. By adding the present perfect verb phrase has been, we have completed the thought. And C. Mr. Johnson's English course, just in stores, is the latest edition. Again, we have added the linking verb is, but have rearranged the group of words. Our second type of sentence fragments are ones that apparently contain both a subject and a predicate, but they do not express a complete thought. For example, Tom driving at full speed. Let's test this example to see if it is a sentence. For our subject, we ask who. Our answer is Tom. For our predicate, we ask doing what? Driving. Driving is the apparent predicate. Does this express a complete thought? No. It leaves us with the question, Tom driving at full speed did what? To complete this sentence fragment, we need to add a predicate. We may add crashed. Tom driving at full speed crashed. Now we have a complete sentence. The simple subject is Tom. The predicate is crashed. In this example, driving is a present participle. It is an adjective used to modify the subject Tom and not the actual predicate. So this sentence appears to have a predicate, but it does not. You have to see if it expresses a complete thought. Here's another example. Leaving his friend stranded at the bus stop. Let's test this example again. For the subject, we ask who. We have no answer. We do not know who is leaving his friend stranded, so we need a subject. Our apparent predicate is leaving. It appears to be the predicate, but it actually is a present participle. Does this express a complete thought? No, it does not. It leaves us with the question, who is leaving his friend stranded at the bus stop? To make this a complete sentence, we may add Mark sped away. Leaving his friend stranded at the bus stop, Mark sped away. We now have a complete sentence with a subject, Mark, a predicate sped away, and it expresses a complete thought. Now let's look at the final type of sentence fragment, fragments that require an independent clause to complete the thought. Since the items arrived. Is this a complete sentence? It has a subject, items, and a predicate, arrived, but does it express a complete thought? No, it does not. The word since is a subordinating conjunction. It limits our thoughts. It makes this a dependent clause, and it needs an independent clause to complete the thought. Since the items arrived, what happened? We must add something to make it a complete sentence. We must add an independent clause. We may say, since the items arrived, we have sold all of them. We have sold all of them is an independent clause, and now our sentence makes sense. I recommend you watch this video, which gives a complete lesson on independent and dependent clauses. There are many words like since that make a thought dependent upon a main thought. They cannot stand on their own. Here are some examples. Although we arrived early. As soon as we heard the news. Because he failed his exams. Until it was too late. These are all sentence fragments, starting with subordinating conjunctions. They need independent clauses to make them complete sentences. The independent clause can go before or after these fragments. So now, let's do a quiz. Listed are 8 sentence fragments. Add the necessary elements, which are subjects, verbs, or additional clauses to transform incomplete thoughts into full grammatically correct sentences. Number 1, eggs, sugar, and butter in the right proportions. Number 2, because he had the proper connections. Number 3, although we were certain that she was a good cook. Number 4, where in this entire school? Number 5, when the order arrived. Number 6, had lunch with Sally and her mother. Number 7, the sales representative, a fair and honest man. And number 8, the committee of which you are a member, in a secret meeting. Now for the answers. Remember, you may add your own subject, verb, or phrase to complete the thought. Number 1, eggs, sugar, and butter in the right proportions. There is no subject and verb to explain what these items are for. If we add the recipe requires in front of this fragment, our sentence is the recipe requires eggs, sugar, and butter in the right proportions. The sentence now has a subject, the recipe, and a verb, requires, that provide context and make the sentence complete. Number 2, because he had the proper connections. The fragment starts with a subordinating conjunction, because, but doesn't complete the thought. If we add, he succeeded in his career, the sentence now has a subject, he, and a main verb, succeeded, making it a complete thought that explains the cause of his success. He succeeded in his career because he had the proper connections. Number 3, although we were certain that she was a good cook. The fragment begins with a subordinating conjunction, although, but doesn't complete the idea. By adding, she still surprised us with her gourmet dishes, the sentence now expresses a complete thought. Although we were certain that she was a good cook, she still surprised us with her gourmet dishes. Number 4, Where in this entire school? The fragment is a question but lacks a subject and a verb. By adding, can we find a quiet place to study? The sentence now acts as a complete question with a subject, we, and a verb, find. Where in this entire school can we find a quiet place to study? Number 5. When the order arrived. This fragment starts with a subordinating conjunction, when, but doesn't explain what happened when the order arrived. By adding, we immediately began unpacking the items, the sentence now completes the thought with a subject, we, and a verb, began unpacking. When the order arrived, we immediately began unpacking the items. Number 6. Had lunch with Sally and her mother. The fragment has a verb, had, but lacks a subject. By adding I as the subject, the sentence becomes a complete statement. I had lunch with Sally and her mother yesterday. Number 7. The sales representative. A fair and honest man. The first fragment tells us about a person but doesn't form a complete sentence. It has no predicate and does not express a complete thought. The second fragment describes someone. It has no subject and no predicate. By adding the verb was, the sentence now connects the description to the subject, forming a complete thought. The sales representative was a fair and honest man. And number 8, the committee of which you are a member. In a secret meeting. The first fragment describes a committee but doesn't explain what it did. We have a subject, committee, but we do not know what the committee does. The second fragment, in a secret meeting, does not tell us who was in the secret meeting. If we add the linking verb was, the sentence now describes the committee's action, completing the thought. The committee of which you are a member was in a secret meeting. So that's it for my lesson on sentence fragments. Please let me know in the comments section the different subjects and predicates that you came up with for your answers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, Know Your English Grammar, and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my lessons. Thank you again for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.